That is one nutty hospital. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back, and today I will be checking Tootsie off the 1001 movie checklist. If you do not know what the 1001 movie checklist or 1001 movie challenge is, it is basically a challenge I've given myself to watch every single movie from the 1001 movies you must see before you die book. So far, I have checked 160 films off the list. If you want to know more, you can watch a playlist of every single movie I have done in this series so far up there. I'm also an Amazon affiliate, so if you would like to start the challenge for yourself, watch the movie I talk about today, or get ready for the movie I'm going to be talking about next week, you can click the links in the description below, and if you purchase anything from there, I get a little bit of a kickback that helps make this channel so much better. As always, let's get started with a short summary. Unsuccessful actor Michael Dorsey disguises himself as a woman to get a role on a trashy hospital soap. I was very excited to see this one. I had heard so many great things about it, and I was just really excited to see what all the hype was about, and I was not let down at all. It is hilarious, it is heartfelt, it is just such a beautiful movie, I guess is really the best way to put it. It's one of the first really feminist films to make it big at the box office. I'm not surprised at that because this is in the early to mid 80s, so they didn't really have that many movies like this. A lot of 80s movies are very action movie heavy, but this one was really great to see kind of the male learning the female point of view, kind of like What Women Want, and a little bit of Some Like It Hot, which I did get Some Like It Hot vibes from this, even though that is a movie I have not seen. It is one that I am going to be checking off the list very soon now, especially after seeing this one. I really want to see Some Like It Hot, even though I feel like it might be a totally different story, totally different theme. I know it's kind of a totally different theme, because Some Like It Hot is about some crooks going undercover, I think. Don't tell me any spoilers on that because I will be watching it probably in the next 2 or 3 months. I like to go into these movies as clear as possible. But I did get What Women Want vibes from it because it is Dustin Hoffman's character, Michael Dorsey, learning, well, kind of going undercover and learning what it's like to be a woman and how the woman's mind works a little bit. Not necessarily as much as in What Women Want, which is a movie I either haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time, because I remember very little of it. I just remember that the main character, I forget who he is played by, can read women's minds.
You know what I wish just once?
What?
That a guy could be honest enough just to walk right up to me and say, hey, listen, you know, I'm confused about this, too. I could lay a big line on you. We could do a lot of role-playing. But the simple truth is, I find you very interesting, and I'd really like to make love with you. Simple as that. Wouldn't that be a relief?
Heaven.
You know, I could lay a big line on you, and we could do a lot of role-playing. But the simple truth is that I find you very interesting. And I'd really like to make love to you, you know? It's as simple as that.
The style of Tootsie, along with James L. Brooks' style of filmmaking, really pioneered what we know as modern cinema styles, like intensely busy scenes.
I think it's a great country.
Look at Emily, look who's here.
You do it in the Poconos, you can do it in Jersey City. You sit around and say, I can't work.
Look at
Create
this
your own
Michael.
what? Yeah, you create your own
He loves
opportunity.
children.
Multiple subplots,
I've never wanted a woman this much.
Oh, please, John, please, perhaps another time.
Pull me away, it'll kill me.
Look, Dorothy, I never promised Julie I'd be exclusive. I never said I wouldn't see other women. It's just that I know she doesn't want me to see other women, so I lied to her to keep from hurting her.
That's very convenient.
Well, that's not me, okay? I'll call you tomorrow.
Michael, I know there's pain in every relationship. I would just like to have my pain now, okay? I mean, otherwise I'll just wait by the phone. And then if you don't call, I'll have pain and wait by the phone. It's a waste of time.
All right, let's make it definite. Dinner tomorrow.
some pop icons in there, in this case a cameo from Andy Warhol. And very jazzy montage sequences. And I read that all of the things that happen in the intro scene and all the things that Sydney Pollack as the agent for Michael, all the things that he lists off for Michael getting fired from his jobs.
A guy's got 4 weeks to put on a play. You think he wants to sit and argue about whether or not Tolstoy can walk when he's dying, or walk when he's talking, or sing when he's walking?
That was 2 years ago, and that guy is an idiot.
They can't all be idiots, Michael. You argue with everybody. You got one of the worst reputations in this town, Michael. Nobody will hire you.
Are you saying that nobody in New York will work with me?
Oh, no, that's too limiting. Nobody in Hollywood wants to work with you either.
Are all things that happened to Dustin Hoffman on sets, which I feel like this is at least I feel like this is kind of like Dustin Hoffman's Birdman before Birdman was even a thing, because Dustin Hoffman he disappears into his roles a lot, and he really disappeared into this role of Dorothy, and it was just so great. I absolutely loved it. But this opening montage sequence does really show, I guess as much as I can tell, what it is really like to be an actor trying to get a job in Hollywood. You're too short, you're too tall, you're too young, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too thin. Too many, too much, not enough for whatever role they're looking for. And then at the end of it all, you're just a waiter.
You've got to work. There's no excuse for not working. There's no excuse for not working. There's unemployment. There's unemployment when I started acting. There's unemployment when all my friends started acting, and it's not changed. You got 90%, 95% unemployment, right? It's never going to change. You're an actor. You're in New York City. There's no work, but you got to find ways to work.
2 tortellinis, just 5 2 hot salads, please.
And then to throw into that is just the man's side. There is also the side with the woman, which we see a little bit when Sandy goes to audition for the soap opera that Michael ends up getting as Dorothy. They reject her right away because she doesn't look the part. And then the director eventually rejects Dorothy when she auditions for the part, or tries to audition for the part.
Gosh, I'm afraid you're not right for this role, though, honey. I'm sorry. Thanks for coming by.
I'm an actress. I'm a character actress. I can play this part any way you want.
Honey, I'm sure that
Why
you're a
don't you
very,
give me an
very
idea
good
what you're
actress.
looking
It's just
for?
that you're a little bit too soft
What?
and genteel. You're not threatening enough.
Not threatening enough? How's this? You take your hands off me, or I'm gonna knead your balls right through the roof of your mouth.
Because she doesn't look the part either, but because of her assertiveness, ends up getting the part. And all of the reasons that Michael got fired from his jobs because he was unmoving on certain things is kind of the reason that Dorothy gets and keeps her job eventually. One thing that I do wish that opening montage did was show how hard it was to work with Michael, how he would just walk off sets or just would not cooperate with the director because something didn't seem realistic enough. It didn't fit with his vision of the character, because later on they have Sidney Pollack's character of the agent tell Michael why he keeps getting fired, why he is so difficult to work with, why he can't get hired in a lot of places because he's so difficult to work with. It's just that show don't tell rule that I love so much that I wish more filmmakers utilize, or even screenwriters. But again, those impulses that he had as a man to not sacrifice to his vision really help him out when he is playing the woman role of Dorothy on this soap opera set. He just goes against everything, or he goes with every instinct that he has ever had, and it ends up helping him, which is great to see that the tables have kind of turned, because normally in movies you would see the women doing that and the being like fired or kicked off, and the men doing that and they being praised for it. So I really love the fact that this is much more of a feminist movie than what you would normally think of as a male-led movie. And Michael's role as Dorothy really was set up very well at the beginning by subtly showing that he is a sleazeball. When he is at his birthday party, you can tell that his friend Sandy really loves him. She's like in love with him, but she's too afraid to show it. But he goes and like hits on every single girl at the party with the exact same line. He's such a sleazeball.
I was looking at you from over there. You got a terrific face. Are you an actor? You are an actress.
Sometimes, yeah.
You were in Dames at Sea.
Yeah, you saw that?
Good work, really.
you.
You have a great singing voice.
Oh, thank you.
I felt like there was an aura between us when I saw it. No, I'm not kidding. I don't know you, but I know you.
Well, I don't know if he really recognizes it in this, but you see at one point he's kind of lecturing the soap opera director on how, well, I don't know if he's lecturing him, but he's talking to the soap opera director and saying, I know your type. I kind of in a way saying that he was that person and he knows exactly what that guy is doing and that he doesn't like it, that he's kind of changed. And the birthday scene really sets up this change and huge character arc for Michael's character. And lastly, I want to talk about the actors. The cast in this is really great. This was Jessica Lange's comeback from the King Kong movie that did not so well at the box office, and she won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for this. I think she's one of the very few women to win an Oscar for, well, I think this movie, Tootsie, is one of the very few comedies to actually win an Oscar for anything. Most of the time they are a little bit more dramas or biopic, things like that, but she did a great performance in this. I mean, it's not as great as I've seen some of Jessica Lange's performances, but it is still amazing. She did such a great job, and I love the person I love the most is only because I love this actor so much is Bill Murray. I just love Bill Murray so much. He's very understated in this, and I really appreciate that because Dustin Hoffman has said in interviews that he does not really consider this as much of a comedy as a lot of people consider it. I do consider it a comedy, but it is also a little bit of a drama. It's kind of an interesting people piece if you think about it that way, but in this, Bill Murray is very understated, he's not his usual very loud, boisterous characters, but a really cool thing though is that he improvised most of his lines, which is so awesome, and I absolutely love that because that's kind of what you expect Bill Murray to be. But he also forfeited having his name in the opening credit sequence because people would end up thinking that this may be some other kind of Bill Murray movie like Groundhog's Day or Ghostbusters or something like that. But back to Dustin Hoffman, I loved his role in this, and the reason that he said that he didn't really consider this a comedy was because he wanted to he just wanted to show the character of Dorothy as this not very beautiful looking person that some people would say she's not super beautiful, but she's a very interesting person that a lot of people should get to know, people like this. He has said that he has met interesting people in his life, but not really given them the time of day because they're not beautiful conventionally, and it's such a great message, and Dorothy is really such an amazing character, and Dustin Hoffman gets so lost in this role, especially since it is the character that you see him as primarily in this. I think Dustin Hoffman in general only has like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of total screen time in this. It is mostly you see Dorothy, and he's almost unrecognizable in this. The makeup department did such a good job. They put so much makeup on him to hide the stubble. They gave him facelifts. I read that he had so much makeup and so many facelifts like put under his wig that he started breaking out, and it was so bad. It was like painful for him, but he did such a great job hiding all of that pain and all of the everything that was happening under the makeup so well because he gave such an amazing performance. The clip from this movie is probably my favorite scene and has one of the best lines in the movie, courtesy of Bill Murray.
I'm Edward Kimberly, the reckless brother of my sister Anthea.
Holy Christ! It's a fallerina!
Edward Kimberly, who has finally vindicated his sister's good name. I'm Edward Kimberly. Edward Kimberly. And I'm not mentally ill, but proud and lucky and strong enough to be the woman that was the best part of my manhood. The best part of myself.
That is one nutty hospital.
And that is all I have for Tootsie. As always, these are just my opinions, but I'd love to know yours in the comments down below. What did you think of Tootsie? Or even, what's your favorite Dustin Hoffman film? This one is probably mine. I haven't watched a lot of Dustin Hoffman movies, but this one is probably one of my favorites. The Graduate is coming up in a couple months too, so sneak peek on that. If you want to know which films I have checked off so far, or just follow my progress along in general, there's a link to a Google Doc in the description down below that you can find a list of every single movie I have checked off so far. And the next movie I will be checking off is a movie that has been on my bucket list to check off for years, ever since I started studying film history, really getting into all of this stuff, and even more so since I bought the Criterion Collection. The next movie I will be checking off is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!